What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Mad Max Lowco recap on lowcosports.com, of course, on YouTube and on Instagram. Once I get this stream going, and there we go. It's been a while since we've done this, since I've done this, and we have a lot to talk about. There's a lot to talk about. Obviously, last week of the football season for high schools around here just finished up on Friday. We had games on both Thursday and Friday, and we'll get into that in a second. Volleyball playoffs have ended. We'll talk more about that on tomorrow night on the Lowco Sports Lowdown. And then, of course, we had a lot of college football on Saturday, and of course, we currently have NFL games going on today. So a lot to get into, and we'll also go give you the first look at what the playoff brackets currently look like for both the South Carolina High School Football League as well as SCISA. And then on top of all of that, we do have a World Series champion to talk about in baseball, and we'll get into that in a second because I have quite a few things I want to say about that. All right, as I get these brackets up, give me a second here. Gratefully given to us by Lowco Sports. So give a recap of games that took place last week. Some pretty important games as well, including Bluffton and May River, which took place this past Thursday. Battle for Bluffton, and it did not disappoint. It was one heck of a game. Of course, it was live stream on WHHI. If you would like to watch that game or rewatch that game, if you were there and you want to watch it again, go over to either WHHI.com to watch it, or you can go to YouTube, search up their own channel on YouTube, and you can watch a complete recap and the entire game from YouTube as well. So please go and check that out if you haven't seen it yet. It was a fantastic game, obviously. Final score, Bluffton would win 28-21. Pretty fantastic. Fantastic games between the two. And it's kind of been the story for them the last couple seasons between these two teams. Obviously, if you remember last year, Bluffton on the road at May River, and got the, I think, one score win there. And then those two played each other 2 weeks later for the first round of the South Carolina High School League for a lower state playoffs. And May River took the crown at Bluffton. So back and forth battle. And by the way, that was an overtime victory for May River. You go to this year, that trophy from the Bluffton Bowl still held on by Bluffton going into that game, despite the loss in the playoffs. That didn't really count towards the trophy itself, but maybe it should have. Who knows? Going to this game, both teams playing real well as of late. May River's been pretty strong, coming off a good win against Buford, a 10-6 victory. And then, of course, Bluffton coming off an absolutely beautiful comeback after being down 24-7 to win a 31-24 game over Bishop England going into this last Thursday, between these two teams. Fantastic game. And again, if you want to see that, please feel free to go over to the WHHI YouTube page, channel, whatever you want to call it, and go check out that game, because it was really I think for it to be the last game on WHHI this season, it was the best possible game you could ask for to finish off a season of live WHHI football games. So fantastic game. The other games that took place on Thursday night, actually there was another good one, actually two good ones between Hanahan and Battery Creek. Battery Creek at home for that game. Hanahan, had been playing lights out football over the last couple weeks going into this one. Battery Creek, while they did make the playoffs, really struggled through the region. I don't think they had a win in the region, but because their region is placed in the playoffs this year, where every team in that region is going to have a playoff game, Battery Creek will be on the road, and we'll discuss that in a second. It was actually a good game between the two. It was actually really tight. Only a 10-point game. Despite how good Hanahan's been playing, Battery Creek held on, as much as they could, but it just wasn't enough. 31-21 win. I can just honestly say that's the best game Battery Creek's played this year, without a doubt. And I like that. If they're going into the playoffs, obviously, I don't. Who knows what's going to happen on Friday night, this coming Friday. I don't see Battery Creek doing much, but that's, to end the regular season, that's a good way to finish it. It's a good way to finish it. Um, Other games that took place Thursday night, of course, JP2 on the road at Pinewood Prep. This was an interesting one going into this game, and the reason I say that is, um, if JP2 won this game, we would be looking at a three-way tie, but either way, the tiebreaker would have gone to Pinewood Prep out of you know the three teams of Pinewood Prep, JP2 and Hilton Head Christian. JP2 came into this one with a loss to Hilton Head Christian, which was kind of it was a stunning loss to say the least. And the reason why is I think we all had JP2 winning this game when we did our Loco Sports Pigskin preview that night before. We all just kind of saw JP2 beating out Hilton Head Christian. I think that was the best opportunity they were going to have against Hilton Head Christian. Um, as of right now, I mean, it was the best chance they could ask for. And they just couldn't get the job done. AJCA played their best game of the year, and they had a running game that night in both, Cress Langhouse, the quarterback, and their new running back, Hudson Baker. And JB2 couldn't stop him. And what's crazy to think is Hilton Head Christian Academy was actually able to, for most of the time, stop the running game. That is something we have not said about HACA at all this season. Not at all. And they showed why again this past Friday, and we'll get into that in a second with Hilton Head Christian. JP2 would go on the road. They lost to Pinewood Prep. So Pinewood Prep is the region title winner in the SCISA Region 1 4A bracket. Region 1 4A, so they will get a home playoff game. HACA with JP2's loss, of course. Either way, HACA gets a home playoff game. We'll talk about who they play on Friday in just a second. And then JP2 will more than likely have a game on the road. And we'll talk about what JP2 will have. JP2 will have a game on the road on Friday night, and we'll get into that. All of that in just a second. Other games that took place on Thursday, the only other one was Palmetto Christian at Cross Schools. Don't need to talk about that much, although it wasn't a horrible game by Cross, but they just couldn't get the win. Then we move over to Friday. Interesting games on Friday. A couple of them, not many, but a couple of them. The real interesting one was at the top of the list for Friday's games, probably the best game on Friday. No, actually, no. There's one game that's better than this one, but HACA at Hilton Head Prep. Look, this is a rivalry that has gone back 2 decades now. Actually 2 decades plus. These two have gone at it for quite some time, and it's so funny because over the last few years, Hilton Head Christian Academy has really dominated this. But on Friday, I hate to say this, but they got away with one. They got away with one. And the reason is because Jake Cargill for Hilton Head Prep was running them over, running all over the HACA defense. And the funniest thing is, Prep is a 2A program, and they have more size on the offensive line and defensive line than Hilton Head Christian does. Actually, to go on top of that, every team Hilton Head Christian has played this season, even the teams they've beaten, have a bigger size team than they do. It's ridiculous. In my opinion, I think, Hilton Head Christian has had a rough time finding some big size players to be a part of their program. And it sucks if you're, Hilton Head Christian, because you're playing 3A football. And eventually, I think you're eventually going to be playing 4A football. You can't have an offensive line or a defensive line that small. And it could be the determining factor for whether they lose or win on Friday night. But AJCA got the win. Luckily, they got the win. They persevered at the end, but Helmet Prep was steaming towards them. I mean, it was a one-score game at one point. Helmet Christian would take the 33-21 victory over Helmet Prep. Buford at Hilton Head. That was on Buford's own, by the way. If you want to rewatch or look at the recap of Buford Hilton Head, go over to Buford's own YouTube channel. Javon Livingston, great friend of Lowco Sports. Really could say he's kind of a member of Lowco Sports, if I'm being honest. But they had that game on Buford's own on Friday night. I got to look at the score because if I'm being honest, I did not look at it last night. So let me get up the score here. Hilton Head, I mean, if I'm being honest, Hilton Head ran away with it like most of their games this season, other than, their one loss to James Island and really the Bluffton game. That was really the one game that they, had a close game against, a 10-point game between the two. I mean, how crazy would it be if you saw those two teams play at some point in the playoffs? God, would that be special? So special. And look, Buford gave an effort. I had a feeling, like, I said on Thursday night when we were talking about this game, I said, I wouldn't put it past Buford with how good of a defense they've had this year. I wouldn't put it past Buford to, make it a close game for a half. And it really wasn't that. Hilton Head ended up getting the 53-20 win. They, scored 39 points in the first half to, Buford's 20, which isn't a terrible score, but it wasn't great either. And it didn't make it any better when they came out of the half and, Hilton Head scored 14 in the third, and that was the ball. That was it. Buford couldn't get anything going in the third or fourth quarter, and it just kind of blew up on him. Yeah. But, that's Hilton Head this year. I mean, they have been strong on both sides of the ball. Probably one of the best all-around teams we have in this area. The only other team I can think of or two teams I can think of that's as well-rounded as they are, or, as close to as well-rounded as they are, is Bluffton and Hampton County. Apart from that, not many teams can match up with Hilton Head, and that's why Hilton Head's gonna get a home playoff game on Friday as the 6-4A region champs for the first time since 2008. Think about this: the last time they won a region title, I was in elementary school. Elementary school, guys. I'm 24. That's the last time Hilton Head High School has had a football team win a region title. It's crazy to think about. Let's see what other games are on. Collin County at Bishop England. I believe Bishop England won that game, if I'm not mistaken. Let's look real quick here. Here we go. If I can get the football schedule up here. Here we go. Yeah, that was a blowout. I had a feeling it was. It's just Collin County just doesn't have it. They're a very young team. But Bishop England finishes off on the best note they possibly can with a 55-0 win. So, hats off to Collin County. They fought hard this year. It's just nothing ever was able to, work out for them. But I do have hope for them, in the future. They got the right coaching staff for it. If I'm being honest, I really do think they do. Collin County's got one heck of a coaching staff, and they now have a really great AD and former Hampton County coach, Coach Myers. who was actually AD at Hampton County and moved over to Colleton County to be the AD there. So I look at Hampton, Colleton County, excuse me, and I just I see a bright future for them. I really do. Let's see who else played on Friday night. Oh yeah, this was a interesting game. Barnwell at Whale Branch. It was interesting. Whale Branch. I don't know what the thing with me with Whale Branch is they are a good team, but they're very inconsistent, and it kind of showed on it kind of showed on Friday night because they've had some good, real close games and some impressive wins, but on the other side of it, you know they have really struggled. And they went from being second in the region, and possible chance at second in the region, to sitting fourth after their loss on Friday against Barnwell, 43-12 at home too. By the way, for Whale Branch, but they will make the playoffs. But I was hoping they would have a home playoff game, and honestly, I was thinking about that 2 weeks ago that they could have a home playoff game, and it stinks. It really stinks because I mean, look, I don't expect a whole lot out of Whale Branch, but they've really impressed me this year because I didn't really have many high hopes on them. I looked at it. I looked at Whale Branch and I said this is kind of a rebuild year for them, but it really wasn't. I mean, yes, it was a rebuild year, but they also were actually successful this season in football. And they got more wins than I thought they were going to get. I mean, they have 3 wins this year. I did not think they were going to get more than 2. And they improved. They impressed me. That coaching staff has impressed me. They're going to build. They are building something there over at Whale Branch, and they are in the playoffs. And we'll talk about them and who they will play in the playoffs in just a second. Hardyville at Allendale Fairfax. I kind of saw this game going where it went. Hardyville gets the win, 45-0. They finished the season 4-6, and we'll head into. Let's see here. They will play. Are they at home? Yes, because they finished third in the region, so they'll have a home playoff game. So that's a big deal for Hardyville, and I've been impressed with that team. They have finished off strong too. They have won 3 in a row to finish out the season. After that brutal loss to Ridgeland, and then an even more brutal loss to Bamberg, which we saw that one coming. After that, you beat Denmark, Olar, Branchville, and then Allendale Fairfax. And in those 3 games, they only gave up 24 points in those 3 games. That's impressive. And that means Hardyville's on a hot streak right now, and I really hope it continues to go for them. I really do. And I have a great feeling that it will at home on Friday. Patrick Henry at Andrew Jackson. These 2 teams, I don't think either one of them is going to make the playoffs. No, they will not make the playoffs. But this was an interesting game. 2 teams, quite a big rivalry. Patriots versus, I believe, the Rebels. Rebels? No, it's not the Rebels. What is Andrew Jackson? I don't know what mascot they are. But anyway, it was a really, 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 intriguing game because Patrick Henry has really struggled this year. And, this is the post, Michael Tucker Mathis era, I guess. And, he was an absolutely amazing player. And they've struggled this year. I mean, they've really struggled this year. Only 2-8 on the year. But they got their second win last Friday against Andrew Jackson Academy, which is are they the Raiders? No, Warriors. Interesting. I always thought they were the Rebels or something, Southern. But it's a good win for Patrick Henry. They should. Oh, wait a second. Well, maybe they do have. They did get the playoff bid. They did get a playoff. Oh, so they got a 4 seed. Oh, so they're on the road on Friday. And we'll talk about that. I didn't think they were in the playoffs, but I guess that win over Andrew Jackson would have put them in there. So yeah, they will be in the playoffs. And then finally, this was probably the shocking game of the night. Really shocking. Thomas Hayward taking on Patrick Henry. This was a battle for, I believe, second place in the region. And I think we all voted on Beaver Academy getting the win, and they didn't. Thomas Hayward took the win, 32-27. Yes, thank you, Justin. Appreciate that. 32-27 win over Beaufort Academy for the Rebels. I don't think any of us had high hopes for Thomas Hayward to finish in the region 3-1. 3-5. They're 3 wins in region play. Because they started out rough. They started out 0-3. Got 2 wins against Patrick Henry and Andrew Jackson, the 2 bottom teams. You lose to JP2. Obviously, Tony O'Banner was out for that game. He was on a visit to a school, on a school visit, because that was originally not supposed to be a game at all. And then you had Carolina Academy, tough loss there. But then, you go into this game. I don't think any of us, predicted Beaufort Academy winning. Well, excuse me, Thomas Hayward winning this game. And I was really, I'm impressed. I mean, I look at the box score here. Beaver got out to a 13-7 lead in the first quarter. And then Thomas Hayward scored 13 points in the second quarter to make it a ball game, give them the lead. 20-13. Beaufort Academy answers back in the third quarter with a touchdown. Tie game. Go into the fourth quarter. Beaufort Academy scores a touchdown, make it 27. But Thomas Hayward scored 12 in the fourth quarter to make it a 32-27 game. That was the best game on Friday night. The only other game that entire week better than that one was, of course, Bluffton and May River. Impressive. Really impressive. But if I'm Beaufort Academy, I'm wondering what's going on? What's going on? Why is Beaufort Academy taking such a dive? I mean, look at how they started out the season. They were on fire. We all thought, oh, yeah, this is a state championship hopeful. This is a state championship type team. And I still believe that they are. But they're not playing to the degree that I would expect them to play at. To the level that I know they can play at. And I'm a bit disappointed in Beaver Academy right now because I know they've had some tough games. Obviously that loss to Cotton Prep. One that took 3 weeks to finish. But you go into this game, you need a boost. You need a get-right game. This was a get-right game. You didn't get right. This is tough if you're Beaufort Academy because now you're going into the playoffs. Instead of having a home game, you're on the road. Potentially against a team that you don't want to play. Especially on the road. Because 1A football, when you have to play a road playoff game in 1A football, God, it is difficult. It is really difficult. So those are all the games on Thursday and Friday. We go into the playoffs. And see if I can get these up here. We'll start with public schools. And we'll go to private schools. Here we go. Obviously, South Carolina High School League will start at the 1A level. Ridgeland gets a number 2 seed. Well, they're the Region 4 2 seed. They are on the road, or excuse me, at home on Friday, taking on Bethune-Bowman. Uh, we've seen Bethune-Bowman before. They're a much improved team. I don't think they're at the level of Ridgeland right now, but they're not far from it. So it could be an interesting game between these two, but I'm intrigued to see how that game goes. And then, of course, the other one there, highlighted in yellow, um, Hardyville taking on Lakeview at home. This one's interesting. It's very interesting, and the reason I say that is because ooh, Lake. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, did these two teams play last year? I gotta look it up now. I believe these two played in the playoffs against each other first round last year. Yes, they did. On the road at Lakeview. Lakeview won that one 36-7. So yeah, kind of a rematch. So I bet you this team's looking for some revenge. These Hurricanes, and they're playing a hot football, really hot football at the right time. So those are the two teams from 1A. The rest of the 1A lower state bracket looks like this. Cross, the overall 1 seed, gets a bye through the first round. They'll play the winner of Ridgeland and Bethune-Bowman. Scotts Branch has a bye. They're the 2 overall seed. They will play either Johnsonville or Branchville. Excuse me. Carvers Bay takes on Allendale Fairfax. If Hardyville wins, they'll play the winner of Carvers Bay and Allendale Fairfax. I have a feeling it's probably Carvers Bay. Bamberg will play St. John's. Bamberg's really strong. I think, this team right here is probably my favorite to win the lower state bracket. But they take on St. John's. Baptist Hill at Latta. Yeah, who knows where that one's going, but Bamberg would play the winner of Baptist Hill and Latta. I think Bamberg's got an easier road to the lower state finals than I would say Cross does. Although, ooh, I don't know. Cross and Johnsonville. If that's the lower state semifinal there between, Cross here and Johnsonville, I think that's a tougher game than say Carvers Bay and Bamberg on this end. And in my opinion, I think it's going to be Bamberg and either Cross or Johnsonville for that one. So yeah. All right, 2A brackets. We got 2 teams in this. Hampton County, the overall 1 seed, taking on Lake City. I think Hampton County has an easy road at the moment, at least through the first 2 rounds, and going into the lower state semifinals. I think Hampton County beats Lake City. Then it's whether or not you can Andrews or Chiraw, whatever it's called. So I think the first 2 rounds, I think Hampton County's got an advantage here. Then they'll have a home game. Oh no, they won't have a home game. Will they have a home game? No, they won't. So they wouldn't have a home game in the third round. They'd be on the road. Interesting. More than likely, Hampton County. I mean, Manning, Academic Magnet. I think Manning's winning that one, so they'll play the winner of Timberland and Barnwell. Timberland's had a better season than Barnwell has. Barnwell's just down right now, and I'm actually shocked that they got a 3 seed out of the region, especially with that win over Whale Branch, because Whale Branch would have had the 3 seed had they beaten Barnwell. So Manning, probably Timberland here, Hampton County, Chiraw. Well, yeah, Chiraw's at home. I think Chiraw's a really strong team. Andrews is good, but I think Chiraw's better. I think Hampton County wins between them and Chiraw. And then I think Manning beats Timberland. So then you got Manning and Hampton County. And now that one's a little worrisome right there, just because Hampton County's on the road. But I think they got a good shot. I think they got a really good shot against Manning. And I think we could be seeing Hampton County sitting in this spot right here come the end of the 21st. Then you got Whale Branch down here on the lower end of the bracket. We'll be on the road at Philip Simmons. I don't see Whale Branch getting past them on this one at all. Yeah, I think Philip Simmons beats them. Philip Simmons has had a great year. Atlantic Collegiate at Woodland. Yeah, I see Atlantic Collegiate winning that one. So you got Philip Simmons, Atlantic Collegiate. Then you got Central here against Kingstree, and then Lake Marion and East Clarendon. I think Lake Marion and East Clarendon is a fantastic matchup. I'm intrigued to see where that game goes. Central and Kingstree, I think Central wins this one. I like Lake Marion and East Clarendon in this one. Honestly, I couldn't tell you who wins that one. That's a 2 and a 3 seed. I like East Clarendon's chance, but I kind of like Lake Marion there. So then you got Central and Lake Marion here. Philip Simmons, Atlantic Collegiate. I think Central. I think Central beats Lake Marion. I think they get here. Then I think Philip Simmons will beat Atlantic Collegiate and get to here. So then you have Hampton County, Manning, Central, and Philip Simmons. And where it goes from there, I really don't know. And we'll get to that when we get there. If Hampton County reaches that point, which I think they will make it through the first 2 rounds, then it's something that needs to be discussed. 3A. Yeah, not much to talk about here. I think we know who's winning this lower state bracket. It's Oceanside. It's 100% Oceanside. Don't look at Battery Creek. I'm sorry, but they got to play Loris. Loris is the 3 overall seed. Not a chance. Sorry. And they're lucky that they got the 14 seed. I'm surprised they got 14 over Aner and Georgetown. 4A. Now this one's interesting. Bluffton at home against Gilbert. They will take on the winner of North Augusta and Midland Valley. I think North Augusta and Bluffton will end up being here. And then more than likely, Bluffton's on the road in the second round, which is unusual because you would think as a 2 seed, they would get more than one home playoff game. But in this case, where they sit, that's not going to happen. So more than likely, we'll see Bluffton and North Augusta. South Florence, the number 1 overall seed. If anyone can beat them, we'll talk about who it is in just a second. Taking on Darlington, we know where that one's going. Bishop England and Lower Richland. Now that one's interesting because I think Bishop England's got a chance. Lower Richland's, I mean, that is going to be a battle between these 2 teams. But I kind of see Bishop England getting that win, although it could go either way. So I think we're looking at South Florence versus either one of those teams. I'll have to make a decision there later this week. Bluffton, obviously, at home against Gilbert. North Augusta at home against Midland Valley. I think Bluffton and North Augusta will end up playing here next Friday. Gray Collegiate is a really strong team taking on Brooklyn Casey. And by the way, Brooklyn Casey's no slouch. Even if they're the 14 overall seed, they're no slouch. But I think Gray Collegiate will win here. And then you got Hartsville and Crestwood. Hartsville's a decent team. I think they beat Crestwood. So you got Gray and Hartsville here. May River. Now this section here is interesting. May River at home against Wilson. Hilton Head at home as the number 2 overall seed against South Aiken. Hilton Head's been strong. And I think they can beat South Aiken. I like Hilton Head's chances at home. They win. They'll be playing May River, I think, at home on the 14th for a second round playoff game. How fantastic will that be? God, if WHHI could do a playoff game, I'd love to see these two teams on WHHI. So I think that's where we sit. And then from there, we'll have to discuss that because there's a lot to go down there. So that's the South Carolina High School League brackets. Let's go to Skeeza. Here we go. Let me get that out of the way. Here we go. Yeah, that's better. All right, Skeeza 1A. Williamsburg, the number one seed for the upper bracket. They're the number 1 seed in the upper bracket, taking on Patrick Henry. I think I know where that one's going. Williamsburg has been on a tear this year. They are a really dangerous team, and I really do think they could very much so end up here. I think they're going to get here 100%, but I think they could end up here. Thomas Hayward at home, believe it or not, against Carolina Academy. Rematch, by the way, rematch. These two teams played just over a week ago. And it was a 3-point game between these two. I cannot wait for that game. That's going to be fun on Friday. That's going to be a fun game to see. So keep an eye on that one because that could go either way, and the winner will end up on the road at Williamsburg. Colleton Prep and Lee Academy. Colleton Prep, the overall 1 seed of the lower bracket. If anyone's going to take down Williamsburg, it might be Colleton Prep. Taking on Lee Academy, I think Colleton Prep wins this one. Dorchester and Buford Academy. Oh, I don't know where this one goes because I really haven't liked how Buford Academy has been playing. They got to get their butts ready for playoff. It's playoff football. It's time for playoff football. Time to get them butts in shape. I really don't know where this one goes. I really don't. I'm going to have to think about that this week. So then we more than likely will see Colleton Prep in the second round at home. Williamsburg in the second round at home against the winner of Thomas Hayward and Carolina Academy. Colleton Prep, I think, gets here, and they'll play the winner of these two at home against each other. I like their chances. But if I'm Colleton Prep, I believe they lost to Dorchester a couple weeks ago. And if that's the case, I'm a little worried about Colleton Prep. I hope they can. Yeah, that's right. They lost to Dorchester Academy 28-14 just over a week ago. Yeah, I don't know. Skeeza 1A football, ladies and gentlemen. Skeeza 1A football. All right, let's go to 2A. We have one team from the area. Well, I guess technically we got 2 teams from our area in this one. We kind of adopt them a little bit. Bethesda Academy, the 1 overall seed, we'll get to them in a second. Calhoun Academy taking on Hilton Head Prep at home. At Calhoun Academy, excuse me. I think we know where this one's going, although Prep has played some good games as of late, so they could make it a matchup, but I think Calhoun wins. PD Academy and Orangeburg Prep, this is a battle. I kind of like PD's chances, so I'll put PD there. Bethesda, Thomas Sumter, without a question, Bethesda. Greenwood Christian and Dillon Christian. I don't know enough about these two, but Dillon Christian hasn't been great this year, so I'm leaning towards Greenwood. And then where do we go from there? I think Bethesda is going to be here. And I think Calhoun, unless PD can beat them, no one's really been able to beat Calhoun except for teams outside their division. I think these two teams, the one seeds, get to the state championship. 3A. This one's interesting. Wilson Hall, the one seed at First Baptist. If Wilson Hall wins, I think they will. They will play the winner of AJCA and Trinity Collegiate. This one could be a battle, folks. If I'm being honest, I don't know if I like Hilton Head Christian's chances, but we'll see. We'll see who gets that one. Pinewood Prep, I think, gets to the second round. I think Wilson Hall gets to the second round. Camden Military just does not have enough. Florence Christian and JP2. JP2 on the road against Florence Christian. Ooh, this could be a good game. Two very familiar offenses. But two strong defenses as well. But I kind of like Florence Christian's chances in that one. But we'll discuss that. 8-man football. Somehow Cross Schools is in. They're in the playoffs, ladies and gentlemen. Yay! They take on Lawrence Academy on the road. I think we know where that one's going, and that's it for the playoff brackets. So a lot of great games that we will be, of course, discussing tomorrow night because we do have a lot to discuss when it comes to football because it's playoff time, ladies and gentlemen. And yeah, so that's it for high school football. How about college football? Yeah, let's talk some college football. See if I can get the scores up here on my phone. Some important scores. We do have to start off with Clemson, though. Another just disappointing game. Defense wasn't doing anything. First time I've seen the defense allow 45 points to a non-ranked opponent in God only knows how long. 46-45 Duke over Clemson. By the way, that was a bogus call. If y'all saw that game, bogus call. Absolutely terrible call. I honestly don't know what to say about that one. Is Dabo Swinney's head on a chopping block? It's getting pretty damn close to it. Pretty damn close. Really damn close. Too close for comfort, put it that way. South Carolina lost to number 7 Ole Miss. Kind of saw that one coming. 30-14. Georgia Tech. This was interesting. Georgia Tech loses to NC State. That was on the road at NC State. That's not an easy place to play at. 48-36, the final score. Number 9 Vanderbilt loses to number 20 Texas. 34-31. I was really hoping Vanderbilt would win that game. I really like them this year. They're like one of those teams they're a Cinderella story. You just kind of have to root. You got to root for them, unless you're a Bama fan. In that case, you don't like anyone and nobody likes you. Anyway, Miami. Speaking of a team that nobody likes, Miami loses again in overtime. Chokers of this century, or at least in the last decade, they've really choked on it. 26-20, SMU beats Miami. Notre Dame gets a 25-10 win over Boston College. Texas Tech beats Kansas State. Oklahoma, number 18 over number 14, Tennessee, 33-27. That was a fantastic game, by the way. Number 15, Virginia continues to win. They beat California 31-21. So that's a weird matchup, and yet that's a conference game. Ridiculous. Louisville beats Virginia Tech. They've moved up to 16th, by the way. I didn't even realize that. 28-16 over VT. The nightcap, the late nightcap. Number 17, Cincinnati goes down to number 24, Utah, 45-14. That Utah team is something dangerous. That is a fierce team. Michigan beats Purdue 21-16. Virginia upsets number 22 Houston 45-35, and then number 23 USC beats Nebraska 21-17. That's the top 25 teams. The only other top 25 game to note of, well, I guess there's two others to note of. Indiana beats Maryland with ease. Ohio State beats Penn State with ease, and then Memphis, number 25, beats Rice with ease 38-14. So that's the college football scores. We do have to talk about Clemson. Can I just say, Is it time to really consider him being fired? If it's not Dabo Sweeney, it has to be Garrett Riley, as well as whoever their defensive coordinator is. I can't even remember. What's his name? Tom Allen. Yeah, that's right. Tom Allen is doing absolutely nothing. And neither is Garrett Riley. So is the blame on Dabo Sweeney? Yes, because I mean he was really the ones who went after these two, and they have you know, done nothing to help, and only has made this program worse. And it gets to the point where you look at everything and you say, how much longer do you live with the fact that Dabo Sweeney's caused you more trouble than you can shake a stick at? And it raises a question. So yeah. Um South Carolina, I mean they're doing what they can. I actually have more faith in South Carolina right now than I do in Clemson, and both of them are sitting with 3-5 records, I think, or the South Carolina might be 3-6. So yeah. Um, Other than that, not much else to talk about. Um, we'll move over to the NFL. There are games currently going on right now in the NFL. Uh, Falcons lost again today, 24-23. So pretty good game. But still, the Falcons are now 3-5. Whoop de doo. The Falcons pissed me off. I didn't even watch them today. I can't stand them right now. Jaguars and Raiders are tied at 6 right now. Rams are up 10 on the Saints, 20-10. Chiefs and Bills, that's a good game. Chiefs down 21-13 at halftime. Sorry, Justin. Uh, your Chiefs aren't what they used to be, at least right now. I think they're getting there though. Finals from today: Chargers beat the Titans 27-20. Bears beat the Bengals 47-42. Colts lose to the Steelers 27-20. That's shocking. Colts have been really strong this year. 49ers beat the Giants 34-24. Kind of feel bad for the Giants because Cam Scatterboo, of course, is done for the year. And what was a absolutely horrifying injury. Broncos beat the Texans 18-15. Let's see. Vikings beat the Lions, which that's shocking as well because I really thought the Lions were going to put a pounding on the Vikings. 27-24. Panthers beat the Packers 16-13. That's a shocker. Damn, how are the Panthers better than the Falcons right now? I don't understand that. That that pisses me off. Anyway, Seahawks beat the Commanders. Or no, they're playing tonight. Excuse me. They'll be tonight. Playing tonight on NBC. Seahawks at 5-2, Commanders at 3-5, and somehow, some way, the Panthers have a better record than the Falcons going into next week. Great. And if I'm not mistaken, the Falcons are out of the country next week. Ah, this Falcons team is pissing me off. It's so frustrating to watch them right now. I mean, at this point, fire Raheem Morris, please. Just fire him. Get rid of the GM. Get rid of Rich McKay, their CEO, because he's done nothing in the 2+ decades he's been with the Atlanta Falcons. He's done nothing. Absolutely nothing. It makes me wonder why continue to be a Falcons fan. I will always love the Falcons. I will always love Atlanta sports. But this is pissing me off. I want to see the Falcons make the playoffs. And right now, they're not making the playoffs. Not a chance in hell that they're going to make the playoffs. Not a chance. All right, finally, Major League Baseball. Can I just say, um, first off, congratulations to the Los Angeles Dodgers, once again the World Series champions. Um, but man, if you're a Blue Jays fan, I feel for you. That sucked. That sucked so much. But let me just say this. That was, in my opinion, this might be a bold statement, but I don't think it is. That was the best World Series I have seen since 2018. Best one since 2018. By far the best World Series of this current decade, of the 2020s. Of the 20s, this current decade, that is the best one yet. I mean, honestly, we were 2 inches away from the Blue Jays winning the World Series. 2 inches. In fact, they were half a second away. Half a second. If Will Smith's foot was off the plate for just half a second longer, the Blue Jays would be world champions. Half a second. We were half a second away from the World Series being ending. And the Dodgers took advantage of that half second and won to take Game 7 of what was an unbelievable World Series. It was so good. So good. And you look at 2018, Boston Red Sox, Dodgers. You can even argue that was the best World Series since that Dodgers Astros World Series, which we don't really talk about much, and I think a lot of people know why, because Houston Astros kind of cheated. Just saying. But you look at the Dodgers, Red Sox, and then after that, 2019, who was it? Nationals and Astros against each other. Astros. Asses sounds like a pretty good one for the Stros. They were ass. That wasn't really a fun series in 2019. 2020, Dodgers beat the Rays. It was an okay series, but it wasn't really great. And I'll be honest, I only watched one of those games. I only watched the final game of the Nationals Astros. And then you go to 2020. Dodgers won the 2020 World Series, but that's always going to have an asterisk next to it. And I'm not hating on that Dodgers team. They were a great team, but it was only a 60-game season. It's what it's going to be. It's always going to have an asterisk next to it. 2021 Atlanta Braves. Being a Braves fan, I did watch every single one of those games. And that was actually, if you want to say between 2018 and this past World Series, if there was any World Series in between those two World Series that lived up to the hype, lived up to being a really fun watching World Series, I think it was that one between the Braves and the Astros. And it went 6 games. It's a good series. If it goes 6 games, it's a good series. It was a competitive series. And of course, I was very happy. The Braves won, of course. But it was a very watchable World Series, and I did watch all of them just because I'm a fan. 2022, Astros and Phillies. That was an unwatchable series. I watched the last game just to watch watch Dusty Baker get his first World Series title as a manager. 2023, Diamondbacks and Texas Rangers. That was the most unwatchable World Series. I watched the final game, and that was it. I think you see a theme here over the last few World Series. I really only watched the final game. 2024 actually was worse. Yankees and Dodgers. You would think the two teams with the biggest payrolls, especially when there's no salary cap. This was the two biggest payrolls going up against each other, and the Yankees played like garbage. They were awful. Absolutely terrible. And Dodgers won in 5. That was the most unwatchable World Series for a good reason, because I didn't watch any of it. And I really didn't want to, because, to be honest, I really didn't want any of those two teams to win. Because I hate them both with a burning passion. Then you go to this year. I didn't know what to expect in this series between these two teams. Honestly, I was thinking to myself as this series came into be, I just thought to myself, God, I really did think that the Dodgers Mariners would have been a better World Series. But if I'm being honest, I don't think you can get much better than what we saw over these last 7 games, including an 18 inning game. I did stay up the entire thing for that game. In fact, I watched out of the 7 games, I watched 4 of them. And the thing about the Blue Jays is they fought. They fought real good. That was an all-time great World Series. That is one for the record books and will always be remembered. Always. Both in a good way for the Dodgers and a bad way for the Blue Jays. But if you're the Blue Jays, you gotta watch, look back, and say, "Dang, that was a great World Series." That was a great World Series. And the thing I would say is the Blue Jays. This team reminded me why I love baseball, why I played it. That was a World Series. That Blue Jays team. There was no analytics. I mean, if there was very little of it. And that's what baseball is now. And it's disturbing that baseball is just analytics now and everything analytics. This team was old school, good old fashioned, two strike account, two strike approach. Get on base by any means necessary. If you get a home run, great. If not, I want you to get on base one way or another, whether it's a walk, a hit by pitch, or a base hit. Or a drop third strike. That's what this team was. They had to find ways to get on base. And they did. For not just the World Series, but also for the ALCS against the Mariners, which also went 7 games. This Blue Jays team fought for 14 games and were basically half a second away from a World Series. Half a second. Something special. Really something special. That was an all-time great. And honestly, there aren't many World Series you can say that was better than that. Not many of them. That was an all-time great. All right, I think we covered all the rest of sports. Of course, NHL seasons has started as well as the NBA season, which, by the way, back on NBC. Hallelujah, glory days. I'm so happy that it's on that's on the NBA again. By the way, best intro music ever. Best intro music ever. And we'll cover basketball when basketball season comes around, But, they just started. Most of these teams are only 6 games into the year. So, when we cover it, we will cover it. And it's crazy to think that college basketball is right around the corner. So, anyway. So, I think we got through all of it. Parting thought, because I didn't get to do this week, so I'm going to get these things up. It is time for some Mad Max uni checks from this past weekend, and obviously some unis for today's games in the NFL. We'll get to that in a second. If I can find the first ones that I'm looking for. Here we go. Let's see if I can find them. So, nope, that's not it. See if I can find these uniforms. I want to see these pictures that they showed because they were really, really, really cool. From Coastal Carolina. Here we go. Here we go. All right, let me get this up here. All right. So Coastal wore these on, I believe, Thursday or Friday. And they are really cool looking because they can glow in the dark. Yeah. Glow in the dark, people. I mean, look at that. That's the helmet, by the way. That mascot is on the helmet. That is the coolest thing I've ever seen. Coastal knows how to throw a party, man. That is a party on a jersey. Look at that. That helmet glows. That helmet mascot glows in the dark. So does this. So does the shoulder. How cool is that? That's so cool. That is so cool. I want one. If anyone from Coastal Carolina is watching and can get me a football jersey like one of those football jerseys, I want one. Please, please, I want one. So bad. I really do want one. Um, see if I can find the other games I was looking at. Oh yeah, these. See if I can get this up here. These are James Madison University helmets. If you can see on here, Marvel characters. I don't know what the purpose of them was for. Let's see if I can figure it out. It's for Marvel Superhero Day at the school. I assume it's got to be charity work as well. I assume that's what it's for. I'll have to look into it. Um, let's see what other jerseys from college. There weren't many for college this week, although these were pretty cool. Ole Miss wearing the Reds with these helmets. I don't know what kind of helmet that is, but it's really cool. Is that like the camo ones they usually do? I think they're really cool. But anyway, let's see if I can find. There's the Coastal jerseys. Let's see here. Oh yeah, these. So these are um, hand painted helmets. Everything on this helmet was painted by hand. Yeah, look at that. That's all hand painted. Utah has been known to do this with their helmets. That's the University of Utah, by the way. They wore those on for their late night game against Cincinnati, and those are hand painted. That God, that's a lot of helmets to hand paint. But they've done this before. They have hand painted helmets before, and they end up being really cool looking. And that is really cool looking. So really cool, really cool. All right, on to the NFL. Washington Commanders kind of going back to their Redskins uniforms. I love that look. I really like that look. Let's see here. The Giants were also wearing their throwback threads. See if I can find them here. That's the helmet. See if I can. Oh, well, the Seahawks, actually, who are on Sunday Night Football tonight, will be wearing these throwbacks, which, so nice. They're so good. Such great unis. And then the Giants were wearing. I'm still not a huge fan of them, but they're starting to grow on me a little bit. Is these with the different colored helmet, which is like very old school, and they're starting to grow on me a little bit. I kind of like them. I don't know why, but I kind of like them. Anyway, I'm still reeling in those coastal Carolina jerseys, best ones of the week without a doubt. Anyway, um, I think that's it for us here on the Loco Mad Max Loco recap. Um, I'm hoping to do more of these. I'm sorry that it's taken me so long to get another one of these shows in. It's been very busy for not only myself but everyone else at Loco Sports. So it's been taking time to get this show back on track. Hopefully, I can do it next week. Give you guys a rundown of all the playoff games and my thought process on them next weekend. I might have to do these on Sunday more often because I got a lot more time on Sundays, so I might be able to do these on Sundays. So we'll do that. But that's gonna do it for us here on the Mad Max Lowco recap. I want to thank everyone for watching. I want to thank the sponsors for continuing to sponsor Lowco Sports to help us continue to go and grow. Also want to say thank you to the viewers for everything they do and for continuing to support us. Keep doing it because it's only going to go up from here on Lowco Sports. And we got a lot more coming for you guys. Hopefully once the football season ends, we're gonna do some really cool things. Of course, the Lowco grind should be back, as well as the Lowco hoops report. Hopefully, we can do one of those soon to give you guys an idea of what the basketball season is going to look like, because that is right around the corner. So a lot to go over. But I will see you along with the rest of the guys, Justin Jarrett, Wes Kerr, and of course Marcus Walsh from WHHI. Will be on the Lowco Sports Lowdown tomorrow night at probably 9 o'clock. And we'll go from there and gives you some more in-depth thought process on the games from last week, as well as our thought process on the games coming up this Friday. So I want to thank everyone for watching, and I will see you next time. This has been the Mad Max Lowco Recap.